So, what should you be aiming for when you plan your shots? I put that question to the director of Chariots of Fire, Hugh Hudson.
You shouldn't really notice the camera. You shouldn't notice anything except the drama and the characters, or the human character, what you're trying to get across through the camera, through the characters. Because as soon as you start noticing the camera, or the clothes, or the sets, you know, you haven't, your film usually will fail, I think, on a human and dramatic, theatrical level. It might be praised for its photography or its beautiful setting, but that's not really the object. But it is a great effort to make them effortless. You know, it's not easy. So what you have to start to do is to break it down, obviously, shot by shot, and so that it can flow in its most effective way dramatically. And you use every aid you've got, including the storyboard, of course. Some people won't use storyboard, but I like to use storyboard in certain kinds of sequences. Certainly in action sequences, I would like to use a storyboard. I think rehearsal is very important. I've started to use rehearsal more and more. I mean, extensive rehearsal period before the cameras are there, before the, you know, all the crowd of 100 people that you have around you. You also save a lot of time when you're shooting, because you learn what can and what can't be done. You learn about the characters, who they are. You learn also, you get to know your actors or your amateurs, whatever they are.
How important is the director's instinct?
Your instinct was to tell a story in a particular way. You've got to retain your instinct and your first thoughts. That is the most difficult thing. That's the most important. I think that's the most important tip, actually. Is remember. If you can't remember them, write them down. Your immediate instincts, and when you read the script or when you first worked on things, just keep a good notebook. If your views are changed by somebody else and you go against it, you do something which is not as truthful as it possibly should be, because it's not coming from you. And you just hold on to those instincts, because that's why you began to do it in the first place, why you had the idea, why you're doing it in the first place. So why deny them? And just keep and be as passionate about it, you know, about your subjects, as passionate as you possibly can be. Because it's only the things you really want to do that are good. When you do them for the wrong reasons, for expedient reasons, even financial reasons, they usually aren't as good. They're usually more mechanical. And don't worry, another great thing, I think, is not only to be passionate, but you've got to be dispassionate. You might fall in love with a sequence or with a performance or with a part of the film. And often, strangely enough, I find more often than not, those are the sequences which probably can be discarded. Although you desperately hold on to these moments in the film, and often, you know, they're the things you should get rid of. And simplicity, another great issue, to keep things as simple as possible. That's what I'm learning more and more as I go along, is that to keep things, cut away all the complications, tell the story as simply and directly as possible, and the story will be better for it.
So why do you direct films for a living rather than flogging shirts or plumbing?
Because I like to tell stories. It's not glamorous at all. There's nothing to do with the glamour. That's not at all. It's a very hard work. It's a very tough job, directing. I mean, this last film, which is going to be, what, like 1 hour, 45 minutes on the screen, it's taken 2.5 years from the moment of starting on the script to the moment it'll come out in the cinemas. And that's a fantastic long time, 2.5 years. And there's terrible pain in it. If you put anything of your own personality or your own experience and your own views and tastes in a thing, in a film, it's very painful.
The world revolves at 1,000 miles per hour. It's enough to make you dizzy. Talk amongst yourselves. By maybe sometime. If you keep an open mind, you'll discover dark secrets. Have you been here long?
The Benson and Hedges surreal campaign culminated in a groundbreaking cinema commercial directed by Hugh Hudson in 1978. It was a production on a scale that hadn't been seen before, and at £100,000, it was the most expensive commercial to date.
So there was a lot of debate about this film, and conscious of that, Frank called the whole creative department together. We all went into the cinema, the lights went down, the electric screen pulled back, and there, flickering into life on the screen, was the Benson and Hedges cinema commercial. It was quite unlike anything that anyone had seen before, really anywhere in the world. And to go to the cinema in those first few weeks after that film was released and see the audience hush as it ran and remain hushed after the end of it, and occasionally, in the first few showings, applaud, was remarkable.
And Frank saw it, he said, he didn't turn to me, what do I think, because I've just done it. He turned to Alan Parker, he said, Alan, tell me really, what do you think? There was a silence that seemed to last for an hour. And Alan Parker said, it's fantastic.
This is the night mail crossing the border, bringing the check and the postal order, letters for the rich, letters for the poor, the shop at the corner and the girl next door, pulling up Beatock a steady climb, the gradient's against her, but she is on time. Passing the shunter, intent on its toil, moving the coke and the coal and the oil, girders for bridges, plastic for fridges, bricks for the site are required by tonight. Grimy and grey's the engine's reflection, down to the docks for the metal collection. The passenger train is full of commuters bound for the office to work in computers. The teacher, the doctor, the actor in farce, the typist, the banker, the judge in first class, reading the Times with a crossword to do, returning at night on the 6:42.
British Airways. We cover the world.
One of the leading commercials directors of the 70s and 80s, Hugh Hudson hit the jackpot with his very first feature film. Produced by David Putnam, Chariots of Fire won Best Picture Oscar in 1982. In 1987, after 8 years in the wilderness, Labour too was beginning to see the value of professionalism. They turned to one of the stars of British commercials, Chariots of Fire director Hugh Hudson. His contribution was an emotional personality piece that became known as Kinnock the Movie.
I wanted to do a film on Neil because I liked him. I liked the things he represented. I liked his humanity. I liked his personality. I don't think it was ever possible that he was going to win, but one could dent the Thatcher tank. When I worked for Mandelson, really, and Campbell. Well, Campbell was still working for the Mirror, but I wanted somebody to do the interviewing, and I thought he would be good, and he knew Neil very well. He made Neil relaxed, and so together we did it and presented it to Mandelson. I'll never forget showing it the first time to Mandelson, and he just sat there. I was behind. Just sat there in front of the television, watching. And you could just see his back going. He started to cry.
I think that because of the way in which people of all ages and every social class feel they can approach me, have a chat to me, whether they agree with me or disagree with me, they know they're going to get a straight answer.
I don't know if it's a true story, but apparently when she saw the Kinnock film, she said to her cabinet, or to her Tim Bell, I suppose, I want one of those. You know, but they never gave her one.
Every year, the world's favorite airline brings 24 million people together.
Fortunatissimo, fortunatissimo, fortunatissimo per verità. Sei potent,